Welcome back to Invest Like an Old Man. And appreciate you all coming to the channel. As always, make sure you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the videos. So today I'm going to talk about something that's pretty exciting, to me at least. May not be that exciting to you all, but I'm a person who's very intent on tracking my financial progress, tracking my savings rate, my investment rate. And over the last few months, I kind of put my head down. I got off of social media and I really focused on growing my business and getting everything in order because I planned on leaving my full-time job. And so it's been a few months since I'd updated my net worth calculator. And so I simply keep a spreadsheet that tracks the total assets that I have minus my liabilities, so I can keep track of my net worth. When I was really young, I had a goal of becoming a millionaire by 45 years old, and I thought the only way to be able to do that would be able to track it. And for those that don't know, ultimately to become a millionaire, what you're doing is taking your assets. So you're taking all your cash, technically you could take your clothes and all of that, but I don't recommend people doing that. But everything you own, technically, right, that has value, and then you subtract your debt from that. And the difference is ultimately your net worth. So let me give you an example. Someone owns, 5 houses, they have 401ks, they have cash in the bank, they own vehicles, and let's say that's worth $2 million. But they have mortgages on those properties, they have loans on their cars, and they have student loan debt. You would subtract all of that from the $2 million in assets, and whatever the difference is their net worth. And if their net worth is over $1 million, then that person is technically a millionaire. So the great news is I updated my spreadsheet recently, and I'm excited to say that I am actually a millionaire. Barely. I'm barely one, slightly over $1 million, but it was a goal that I set to reach by 45, and I'm 42 years old, so I was excited for a second. Here's the reality is, though, nothing changed. Just because I'm a millionaire does not mean I have $1 million sitting in cash that I can access. What my actual goal is next is to become a millionaire without using my primary residence. And the reason why I say that is because when you use your primary residence, you got to live somewhere. So the only way to access that money would be for you to sell your home. So, you might meet the technical definition of a millionaire, but truthfully, unless you sell your home, you're never going to be able to access those funds. So my next goal is to, become a millionaire without using the equity from my primary home. And in my case, it's not, a big chunk of my net worth. The equity in my home, may be, 10 or 11% of, that $1 million net worth. So it would not be a huge jump. But it's still exciting that I made it. And, the day-to-day, nothing changes in my head. I talk a little trash sometimes and say, I'm out here doing A, B, or C, and I'm a millionaire. But outside of that, nothing changed. So a lot of people ask me, well, how'd you make it happen? And why was it important to you? The first part is why was it important? I don't really know. It was a goal that I put in my head. It sounded cool, and so I wanted to achieve it. And anybody that knows me, when I put my mind to something, I try to make it happen. How I achieved it, though, I actually think is a lot easier than a lot of people realize. The big portion of it is discipline, right? So instead of spending all the money I made, I was always diligent in saving and then buying assets. And if you think about it, when you have assets, a lot of times, whether it's a house, whether it's stocks, whether it's bonds, a lot of times if you just hold on to them for long enough, they're going to go up. Right, so a house 30 years ago obviously cost less to buy than it costs today. So simply owning that house and doing nothing with it but living there or paying the taxes on it would have allowed you to get an increase on that. So one of the things I always talk about is not keeping your money just in cash, is having assets. So I own 4 homes, right? I own some others that I sold, but I own 4 homes. 1 my primary residence and 3 of them that I rent out. Just by what the market is doing, you all see the news. All those homes have gone up in value. The great thing I love about real estate is, let's say I want to buy a $150,000 house. In some cases, I only have to put $15,000 of my own money down. But when they say home prices go up by 5 or 10%, it's not going to. My $15,000 isn't going to go up by 5 or 10. The $150,000 house that I bought is going to go up by 5 or 10%. So you start thinking about when you're getting a 10% return on some of these items or these assets year after year. Eventually, you just start to accumulate wealth. The other thing I did was I always saved into my 401k. I tried to do at least 10%. Sometimes I did more, but I very rarely did less. And, you know, uh, to be truthful, 7 or 8 years of my life, I was making over 100,000. So I think that helps a lot. Not everybody's in that position. I had a six-figure paying job, had rental properties, and so I was putting a lot of money into my 401k. As you all know, the market has done really well, so that grew a lot. So just the real estate and the um, 401ks alone, just in the last 4 or 5 years, have done great since the market has done so well. But since I loaded up early, I was able to reap the return. So again, you load up early, you're sitting in accounts, you've got, 300, 400,000 in those accounts, and the market is doing 20% some years. That's 60 to 80,000 just in 1 year of, return on that money and gains. And that's why they always say the rich get richer, right? Once you start getting that first 100,000 in and you start getting those returns, now that 10, 12% is a significant chunk. And every year, even if you don't add anything to it, you see that money growing significantly. Then the other thing I did was I saved cash in the bank. I never lived off the money I made. Even though my wife and I made really good money, we never built a lifestyle on trying to keep up with the Joneses. Until recently, I was driving a 2007 Avalon. I did have a toy that I bought at one point. I did have a Camaro that I bought and kept it in the garage and very rarely drove it, and then realized, I just needed to sell it. It was a waste of my money, whether I could afford it or not. My wife doesn't drive a brand new car, and I've never driven a brand new car. Um, Anyone that knows me knows that I really want a Corvette really bad. The truth is, I got the money to pay cash for it if I want it, right? I could pay cash for it, and it wouldn't affect my lifestyle tomorrow. But the point I'm always talking about is discipline. I don't need to be buying a Corvette. It's not what I need. I want one, and I'm going to get one day. But I have other things that I want to do to set myself up financially before I'm out, buying a Corvette for a lot of money, right? So living below my means, not trying to keep up with other people, not driving fancy cars, because those are depreciating assets. The moment you buy them, you hear the cliche, you drive it off the lot, it loses value. It's not just cliche, it's actually the truth. It's a depreciating asset. So it's something that you're buying that ultimately, the longer you have it, the less it's going to be worth, and you're going to sell it for very little and then turn around and put that money into something else. So you're spending $50,000 to $70,000 on a car. Just think about how much of that could have gone into an investment account that grew over the years that could have put you in a better situation. So the final thing I'll say is, and it has nothing to do with finances technically, is I try to live a life where I treat everyone with respect and I do right by people and I treat people fair. That's I think the key to everything I've had in life. I don't try to cheat anybody. I don't want any money that doesn't belong to me, but I want every dollar that does belong to me. I've earned everything I've got. I don't want a handout. But I think the mentality that I have, as it relates to money, is one of the things that's allowed me to become successful and achieve some of the goals that I've set for myself. I've not achieved them all, but I plan on achieving every one that I set for myself. But I do think it starts off with my attitude as it relates to money, which is I'm going to treat people right. God blessed me with the gift of discernment when it comes to dealing with people, and one of the things I try to do is deal with people fairly, and ultimately just be a good person, and I think that carries over to everything in my life. So I just kind of wanted to share that update because when you make a channel talking to people about investing, people want to know what qualifies you, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to help people, but people want to know what qualifies you because so many people on here post tips and things like that. And the truth of the matter is, they're not qualified to give financial advice. If you're broke, it's hard to tell somebody else how to get rich. I'm far from rich, but I have achieved a lot of my financial goals simply by working hard, making good decisions, and not taking unnecessary risks. So I plan on continuing to update this channel as we go along. I would give the specific figures, but my wife isn't as open as I am, so I'm not going to give all the numbers exactly, where my assets are. But I will share as much as I can to help people grow. So again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share.